the good old days. And if that sound doesn't make you smile, then you're an Apple guy.
Bruh.
So Microsoft right now is one of the world's most valued company, reaching almost at $2.5 trillion, literally right behind Apple. And if you guys watched the first Microsoft stock prediction video, we predicted that the sales and profits would be this. Instead, we got this. We were really close. Revenue was more than expected, but the profits, sheesh, much more than expected. They crushed Q4 earnings. But have they peaked? Or is this just the start? Hey guys, I'm Curious Pejjy, and I'm a very curious guy. I'm curious to know if I go all in today, right now on Microsoft, will it make me super rich tomorrow? You know, buy mansion in cash next to Bill Gates' house and drive in with a fresh 2022 Lamborghini Huracan? You know what I'm saying. Well, I bet you're wondering that too, if you should invest in Microsoft now, start a position now, or buy more if you have a position, hold your shares because everything's going up right now, or just overall get this opportunity to sell and invest in something else like Tesla, for example. Well, it's no doubt that Microsoft is a safe investment with guaranteed returns for a long time, and I got the proof to back that up. So enough chit-chatting, and let's get into the prediction. All I ask in return is a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. So the current stock price right now is just around $300 per share. In 2020, the average stock price was about $232, and in 2021 was $284. That's a 22% increase. So if you held through the whole pandemic and you bought more shares, man, you would be loading right now, man. You'll be loading right now. You'll be loaded up. But can we get that for the rest of the years, 2022 and onwards? Let's find that out. Prediction from 2022 to 2024, the best place to find it was simply Wall Street, but this time was different. When we look at Simply's Wall Street's prediction, it seems to be ending in June 31st. Obviously, that's only 6 months in the year. So what I did is that I took the first 6 months of 2022 and the other 6 months of 2023, and I mixed them up to get a reasonable number, and this is what I got. As you guys can see here, these numbers look very reasonable for Microsoft, like really reasonable. Now, because I did this, 2024 doesn't get included in here, so we have to do this our own. Well, from 2024 to 2030, that's all us. So in the first Microsoft stock prediction video that I made, from 2024 or 2025 over to 2030, I put a revenue percentage of 12% year over year and a net income year over year of 11%. But that changed because Microsoft is a beast and they're gonna keep crushing it as we go. So there's no underestimating here for Microsoft. Nonetheless, even though these numbers were very conservative, I bumped it up here. Even though I even bumped it up, they're still conservative. So let's see what we got. Now from 2024 to 2025, I said they're gonna increase by 16%. Why 16%? Well, when we look at the last 2 years, they've been growing at a steady of 14 to 16%. And when we look at the past 3 years or 4 years, they've been growing at an average rate of 15% in terms of sales and revenue. So for the next 2 years, that's why I said 16%. And then from 2026 to 2027, I reduced it down to 14% because again, as we go forward, these numbers are gonna get harder to compound as we go. As the value increases, the percentage of growth will keep shrinking, but they will have enormous amount of returns. So that's why I said 14% for these 2 years, and this is what we get. And then from 2028 all the way to 2030, I said 12%, and this is what we get by 2030. $600 million by end of 2030. Now, do you think that's realistic? But anyways, we'll get that in the end of the video, at the end of this prediction, because I got something to say. Now, moving on to the net income. When we look at the net income from 2022 to 2023 to 2024, there's an average increase of about 16 to 17%. But when we look back at some data from 2018 to 2021, we can see a 63% on an average growth. So it's confirmed that Microsoft's return are gonna be much more explosive in the coming years, and they're gonna outperform their revenues. So that's why I said from 2024 to 2025, it's going to be 18%. And these are the numbers that we get. From 2026 to 2027, it's gonna be reduced down to 16%, and from 2028 to 2030, 14%, which you would get almost $250 billion by 2030, which is crazy. But I still think we're underballing this, and very conservatively we're going forward. But again, we'll get back to that at the end of the prediction video. Now, shares outstanding. When we look at the historic chart of shares outstanding for Microsoft, we can see that they've been buying back. They've been buying back, man. Just look at this chart. Absolutely crazy. Buying back like there's no tomorrow, man. Year over year, doesn't matter if it was a good year or a bad year. They've just been buying back. This is very good news for investors because that's how you know there's guaranteed returns. When the company is buying back their own stock, there's more limited on stock, which makes the stock price go higher. Now, when we look at the shares outstanding in 2021, it beat our own forecast in the first prediction video, so that's really good. They bought more than we expected, and we expected that this year they're gonna buy back only 0.5%, but they actually bought back almost a full percent. 0.8 to be exact, but that's still insane. But nonetheless, nothing has changed. Keeping things conservative from 2022 to 2030, they're still gonna buy back 0.5% of their entire shares. And by 2030, we get just over 7 billion in shares outstanding. EPS follows that as well. By 2030, it's gonna be 33. All right, now the PE. This is the interesting part and will pretty much dictate our stock price. So let's get into it. When we look at the PE historic chart for Microsoft, we can see there's a nice healthy increase. And that's because Microsoft is set to make a lot of money in the coming years in revenue and in net income. Like as we just saw, net income is outperforming revenue, so that's really good to see. But in the first Microsoft stock prediction video that I've made, I said 35 PE all the way until 2030. But let's be more conservative and let's say by 2030, whatever revenue and net income they're gonna do, by 2030, a PE of 25. All right, that's what I put, 25 PE by 2030, because I want to stay conservative. But from 2022 all the way to 2025, I kept it at 35 because again, we have a lot of high growth coming up for Microsoft. Because if you guys been living under a rock or don't know it, they just bought out Activision, and Activision, you know, is a cash-driven machine. They make billions on billions on a yearly basis. So, and they're gonna make the company much better. So, yeah, man, Microsoft's gonna be making them COD. Can't wait. Up until 2024 is 35, not 2025. 2025, I put a PE of 33. And that's because I suspect that Microsoft stock is going to slowly calm down. The hype's going to calm down a bit. And maybe at that time, they're not going to see much or an explosive growth with Microsoft anymore. From 2026 to 2027, I put a PE of 30. And then 2028 was 28. And then 2029 to 2030 was 25. Now, knowing all this, we figured everything out, the PE, the sales, and all that kind of goodies. Now it's time to find the stock price. You ready? In 2022 or by end of this year, we should see a stock price hitting $355 per share. Now, right now the stock price is around $300, maybe just north of that, and we have a massive rally going on right now because interest rates are being implemented. There's less uncertainty in the market. The only thing that can really bring it down and not hit this mark is that if this war in Ukraine and Russia just gets worse and it just gets worse, man. That's the only thing. But I don't think the interest rates alone is going to affect the whole stock market, man. I don't think that's the case. But I agree with this, man. $355 per share, that sounds reasonable to me, man. That's nice. In 2023, the stock price should be $403, hitting a 3 trillion mark. In 2024, stock price should be hitting 477. 2025, stock price should be 534, with the market cap almost hitting 4 trillion. 2026, stock price should be 566. 2027, stock price should be 660. 2028, $705 per share, with a market cap over 5 trillion. 2029 stock price is 722, and 2030 stock price 827, with a market cap hitting almost 6 trillion. Here's what the stock price chart looks like for this specific scenario. But man, I don't think, man, 6 trillion by end of 2030. Do you think that makes sense? I don't know. I think that's extremely conservative. Like, you're telling me now, if I buy now, I'm only going to triple my money by 2030? By buying a good company, a good quality company like Microsoft, something doesn't make sense here. So doing a little more research, Simply Wall Street said that right now the stock is humongously undervalued at around $475 per share, which is absolutely crazy. Doing a little bit of the calculation here, the PE was almost 47, 46.9 to be exact. And if we switch the PEs from 2022 over to 2030 with 46.9, this is what we get by 2030. 1551, with a market cap almost hitting over 11 trillion, which is crazy. But is it? You know what, to be honest, guys, I don't disagree with the stock price, but I do disagree with the PE. I don't think by 2030 the PE is going to be 46.9 or 47, but I do agree that the price is going to be around $1,500 by 2030. Why? Well, just look at the revenue and net income. Do you guys think by 2030 they're only going to triple in sales and net income? Heck no, man. They're going to continue growing heavily and strongly. So let's go ahead and speculate a little bit, all right? Let's say by 2030, sales are going to reach 1 trillion. By the way, comment down below if 1 trillion makes sense for Microsoft by 2030. I want to know your opinion. And let's say instead of a net income of 238 or 239 billion, we're gonna have a net income of $500 billion. Again, comment down below on what you think on $500 billion by 2030 for Microsoft for net income, if you guys agree with that. It's a big number, it's hard to comprehend, but is it impossible? Let me know. The stock price should be north of $1,700 per share with a market cap over $12 trillion. $12.5 trillion as a market cap, which is absolutely crazy. Or is it? Now, I don't think the stock price will be $1,700, but I do heck believe it could be in the 1,200s to 1,500s by 2030, with a market cap hitting around 10, possibly even 11 trillion by 2030. I think that makes more sense for Microsoft. I don't think Microsoft is going to sit around and do nothing for these years. They're going to continue buying up companies. They're going to continue finding ways to make money and to diversify. And overall, this is the global system. I mean, everyone uses Microsoft. Everyone uses Word, Excel. I mean, Outlook, emails. They just, and their servers, their cloud. Oh my God, don't even get me started with that. And probably your own personal data. But anywho, moving forward. So we have a bear case by 2030, $827 per share, and a bullish case by 2030, $1,731 per share. But a realistic one would be around $1,200 to $1,500 per share by 2030. Let me know if you guys agree with that in the comment section below. So the thing about Microsoft is that they are a boring company, and just because they're a boring company, it doesn't mean they're a bad company to invest in. When you look at all the boring companies like 3M, Coca-Cola, MasterCard, Visa, Caterpillar, these companies don't really get talked about a lot, but they're growing, man. They're making money. They're a cash generating machine, and they make a lot of money on a yearly basis. Hence, they're good investments, kind of like buy and forget about. And Microsoft is in that category as well. Also, it's worth mentioning that Microsoft has a strong presence in every single market share all around the world. I mean, think about it. What computer that you get that isn't Apple or Mac doesn't have Windows on it? I mean, that's the only option, right? Windows or Mac. So the market share, they're there, they're strong, and they're growing big time. They're also well diverse. They have so many income streams that it's not even funny. One of them is their cloud services that's expecting to explode year after year. Their cloud service is absolutely amazing. I use it. The company that I work for uses it, and we're all extremely happy with it. There's one thing that I realized about Microsoft, man, is that Microsoft is more of a need than a want. You kind of need Microsoft to pretty much go on your computer, to pretty much do the things you want to do. Again, the only options are Apple, whatever they use on their MacBook or whatever, and Windows. That's it. That's the only options. And majority of everybody in the world are using Windows. Also, the exciting part, I know they're a boring company, but maybe they're not that boring anymore because they just bought out Activision. Now, into the chart that we just did, I did include Activision's in growth there as well, because they're pretty much going to be part of them, and it wouldn't make sense to exclude that. So yes, it's already included into the prediction. But that's amazing. Activision is a cash cow. They make a lot of money, and honestly, I wouldn't mind getting my Call of Duties from Microsoft. I think they needed that uplift anyways. They've been kind of stagnating for some time, Activision, sadly, but hopefully now with the help of Microsoft, they're gonna explode and come up with brand new games and be diverse and do other cool things. I'm very, very looking forward to that. Another thing about Microsoft is that it gives you dividends at around 0.8% annually. Now, I know it's not much, but it does give you something. But guys, let me know if you guys agree with these stock predictions that we made, if you're planning to buy some Microsoft stock, or overall looking for a better entry, or if you're just planning to sell out and buy Tesla, because if you guys haven't watched this video, man, this stock split video, the stock prices in these, sheesh. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, you guys are gonna be blown away. You guys will probably call me crazy, but Tesla is a crazy company. So yeah, anyways, check it out. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.